treat your partner the way you treated them, and you'll never not have them. I worded that totally wrong.
You're listening to the Laughing Couple podcast with your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Join them weekly as they discuss topics such as relationships, kids, sex, parenting, all unfiltered and all with a healthy dose of laughter. Please welcome your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Sorry, I'm just reading my
killed a man.
Okay.
Why don't I just... Put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger. Now. You know what? I kind of sound like James Blunt.
Oh my God. We've already had a whole podcast on how you do not sound like...
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
Do you want me to just like run down what we're going to be talking about this episode?
You have been the one for me.
No, you don't sound like him at all.
Goodbye, my lover.
Okay.
I do sound like James Blunt.
Well,
I think if I were to sing like that, someone would be like, is that a James Blunt impersonation? I'd be like, yes, it is.
No, but it's a Jim Burt. It's a Jim Burt impersonation. Yeah, I disagree, but that's okay. If that makes you happy, I love that for you.
It sounds more like James Blunt than it doesn't sound like James Blunt. So in a roundabout way, it does sound like James Blunt. You know what? This is a true story. Marian Hossa plays for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay.
This is an ongoing family joke because he just had his jersey retired and my family congratulated me. Because I said that one time that I looked like Marian Hossa. And everyone in my family, including my brother-in-law, looked at me and were like, no, you don't. And my argument was, I look more like him.
Oh, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, my argument was, I look more like him than any of you do. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so I look kind of like him. By definition, if I look more like him than you do, then I look kind of like him.
Well, no, I just think that everybody else looks like nothing like him.
But that means that I look something like him.
That's a stretch.
I think I look like Marian Hossa.
I don't know who that is. I'll have to look it up after.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay, this episode, we are going to do something that we've never done before.
Don't do this. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not. We're going to transition into it. We're going to transition to it normally. We're not going to set everybody else up.
Why?
We're not doing it.
Okay.
We're not doing
We're
it.
just gonna
I
dive
love you
right
and you're
in.
annoying. What's your I love you and you're annoying? Because I just found out what mine was.
Okay, you go
I
ahead.
got triggered.
Go ahead.
No, that's not it.
Okay, so it's fine.
My I love you and you're annoying is this. Now you're going to be like, oh my God. But it's true.
Okay.
I'm not what one would consider a coffee enthusiast.
Okay.
It wasn't until COVID hit that I actually started drinking coffee on somewhat of a regular basis. I didn't drink coffee at all before COVID.
Hot chocolate.
And you've worked me in. Your dad makes fun of me for the kind of coffee that I drink.
Not now. You drink straight espresso. You do great.
Right. But I transitioned from like a French vanilla, from a French vanilla into coffee.
Right.
And so even in my coffee today, I'm very particular about the coffee taste because I don't like the taste of coffee.
Where's this going?
So I still put the French vanilla cream in. Mm-hmm. Here's where it comes down. Here's what it comes down to for me. This is what's really annoying about you.
Interesting.
There is a particular Nespresso flavor that I thoroughly enjoy. And you also thoroughly enjoy that flavor.
Melozio.
I don't know what it's called. It's gold.
Oh, you really like
the
it.
Gold one.
You don't even know what it's called.
First of all, I can't read any of the things that they are.
First of all, I can't read. Okay.
Fact. That's a fact, Jack. I can't. Reading's very difficult for me. I'm not
okay.
even I'm exposed here, but that's the fact.
That's fine.
I don't know what it's called. It's the gold one.
It's Melozio.
Melazio. Okay, so you like Melazio, and I like Melazio. But you order, I don't know what they're called, sleeves. You order sleeves of like 5 or 6 different flavors, of which I don't particularly care for. I love this Melazio. So you love the Melazio and I love the Melazio, but you love the other sleeves as well. I don't. You drink all the Melazio. And so my point is this, either buy more Melazio or drink the other stuff, and I'll drink the Malazio because you like all of the other flavors and I
Malazio,
don't.
So I'm not allowed to drink that because your taste palette is so limited.
No, just buy more Malazio.
I buy the most Malazio.
You're
and
not
it goes
buying
quickly.
enough.
I haven't
because
bought...
when it's done, you've got all of these sleeves left because that's the problem. You drink the Malazio first and then you go to the other sleeves. When the Malazio's out, I'm out of options. A. B, you like to mix what you call whatever that thing is called, the silk.
The frothing milk?
The frothing milk, the silk stuff. You drink that in your stuff, and I still drink the French vanilla cream that goes into it as opposed to milk. You like both options, but you choose the only option that I like to go first. So now when I'm done with the Malazio and I'm done with the cream that I like, that you've been drinking on both of them, I'm left with nothing, and you've got 18 sleeves of things I don't drink and all of the silk cream that you can put into it. I'm out. I got no options. You're filled with options. Mm-hmm. That's so annoying.
Yeah. Who does all of the Nespresso shopping and the grocery shopping? So if this is such an issue, go order more Nespresso. We have a Nespresso account. You can order your own.
First of all, all I'm saying is this.
Like, you're complaining about something that I do, that I make sure that we have coffee for both of us, and that you run out of your coffee, so you're whining.
I don't run out of my coffee. You drink it.
Because it's not your coffee. I also enjoy that one.
So
I drink the other ones as well, but I also enjoy Malazio. So you're trying to tell me that I'm not allowed to drink the same one because you like it?
No, what I'm saying is you work your way backwards. You work your way to the stuff that you like first, and then if you get to Malazio and then we're both at Malazio, great. But if you start at Malazio and I start at Malazio, I run out of Malazio right away, and you're left with the sleeves that you can drink.
Okay.
All I'm saying, that's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Are you done?
I think there's a word for it, and I don't. It's not a love language.
Oh, because you know so much about those.
The 4 love languages.
There's 5.
I know.
Someone wrote us, and they were like
Ryan's such a funny guy. He thinks he knows what he's talking about. There's 5 of them.
5 love languages. They're so mad. Okay, my I love you and you're annoying kind of.
Do you understand that?
Falls into.
Oh, but do you understand that?
Like, yes and no. I think that I'm triggered because I feel like you don't do those things and like make sure that we have coffee and like the orders are coming in, that when we have the creamer, I do those things. So for you to be mad at something that you don't even contribute to is annoying to me.
Yeah, fair.
So I'm kind of like, I don't care. To be honest.
Work your way backwards. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying, I don't really care.
Okay.
Mine is, I think, like, so this will, I think, flow into the conversation we're going to have later. But so you went on a trip this past weekend with your dad that you guys planned last year, which I think is so awesome. We talked about that previously. And I just love that you guys are spending time and making those moments, right, with our parents. We talked about this before. So it has nothing to do with the fact that you were leaving. It has to do with the fact that I think that when you came up to me and you're like, hey, I know that I'm leaving and I know that you are hella stressed out. You have the kids and you have to work. If you could just go ahead and wrap all of the shit that we have to do in the backyard while I'm gone this weekend, like that would be great. And I literally wanted to throat chop you the minute you said that. I was like, are you fucking kidding? I was so mad at you when you said that. Like, so mad. Like, I cannot tell you how mad I was. So mad. I feel like, and I'm going to get into more of the reason why, because I was like, why am I so mad right now when we talk about, because we're going to unpack some of our quarterly check-in shit later. But that really bothered me because you knew I was going to have a crazy weekend. You knew you were going away. And this is something that you didn't kind of plan and prioritize and just left it to me. Right. Which I was like not happy with.
Not how it worked.
Well,
not how it worked.
It's more how it did work than it didn't work.
I recognized that it wasn't completed, and I thought, ooh, this weekend is a good weekend because it's not supposed to snow. Britt, if you have time, can you do that?
Yeah, I just thought it was like a shitty thing of you to ask.
Yeah, well.
And like, if you don't know what we're talking about, we have these huge garden boxes in the backyard that we have like shrubs in, and there's like a waterfall. Like they need to be like wrapped. And I asked Ryan.
Winterized.
Yeah, I asked Ryan to purchase tarp like last month essentially and stuff. I was like, I don't know anything about this. Can you please do that? I will. I did. Finally comes in. You're gone. I'm like, fuck. Okay. Anyways, that was very annoying for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I get that.
All right, let's move on.
I'll own that annoying.
Pack it up, pack it in, or don't pack it at all.
So last week we had Haley Patry on. And by the way, I absolutely
adore her.
adore Haley Patry. She brought up some unbelievable things on how you can get through the holidays, not only survive the holidays, but actually create the experience that you're looking for and unfold that. And we had briefly talked about our quarterly check-ins, and she'd even talked about getting into the new year. And so because the new year's coming up, we had another conversation I thought was really unique. The rule of threes.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Which led us to having this conversation here. So maybe I'll talk about that.
Okay.
So we had this rule of three. So Brittany and I are watching this TV show. And if you guys haven't seen this,
which is fucking
it's called
amazing.
The Lazarus Project.
The Lazarus Project.
Lazarus. Oh yeah, from the Bible. The guy who came back from the dead.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, the Lazarus. I think so. Did I just make that up?
You were saying it like you have a
could've-
list.
I
Hold on,
honestly-
say it again.
Lazarus. What?
Say it again.
Am I Lazarus?
It's Lazarus.
Lazarus?
You're like, we watch this show called The Lazarus. It's Lazarus.
They don't listen, guys. At
There's
the end
no
of the,
TH
at the end of the
at the
show.
end of the
There's
word.
no test. So,
It's so good. Like,
oh yeah,
highly
there
recommend.
isn't an S in it.
No,
or a TH
no,
in
there's
it.
nothing.
Yeah, Lazarus. Okay, hey, Lazarus.
Okay.
I also apparently can't pronounce the THs. Wow.
It's an amazing show.
Words are
It's on
hard.
I think it's from Showtime, but it's a British television show that basically talks about their whole premise is that there's a checkpoint July 1st every year, and if the world somehow ends when it shouldn't end, like blows up, a bomb, World War III, whatever, this Lazarus Project, the people who work for it are basically trying to stop that from happening. So they have to figure it out. But every year at the checkpoint, people wake up and they don't remember that the world ended, except these specific group of people know. They know that the world has ended multiple times, and they try to figure it
confuse
out.
people because that's not what happens.
It is. What are you talking about?
If the world ends, they reset it to the previous
Yes, there's a
year.
checkpoint. That's what I said.
But
July
it's always,
1st.
It's always that day.
Always that day.
Always that day.
If they get through that full year, July 1st, then the new checkpoint is
Starts
the
over
following
again.
year. Yeah.
Starts over again. So people on this earth do not realize that they've lived the same year over and over and over and over, which is where the whole deja vu thing comes into play.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is they show how you think things are like fate,
Yeah.
but they show you how the year unfolded each time differently, slightly different. You made a mistake here. You said this, you didn't say that.
Yes.
Not everything is the exact same. And because it's not the exact same, it's like that butterfly effect
Yeah,
of how
it's really
things,
cool.
how things go.
Right.
Long story long, or short story long, I should say, is because I don't even know how we got into that tangent.
It's because he has to be with her, or she
Anyways,
has to be with him.
there's a period of time where this individual's fiance, girlfriend, something tragic happens, and they get to reset the time frame, and he's super pumped because he gets to fix the mistakes he made. And so he changes how he is with her, and within a 3-month period of time, she
She's
breaks
like-
up with him.
She's like, this isn't.
He's like, this person, I have been like waiting to fix this problem for an entire year. The world gets to reset. Thank the Lord, the world gets to reset. I get to fix this. I'm going to lean in. I'm going to be more focused, more attentive.
Show how much I
Show
love
how much I
her.
love her. And because he was like
Almost
overly clingy,
Yeah.
she like lost interest in him.
Yeah.
And so Brittany was like, I think what happens is, and we haven't gotten through it long enough. She's like, I think what happens is every time the world resets, people come back slightly different. And I'm like, I don't think people come back slightly different. I think the people who know that the world has changed, they act slightly different. Therefore, it causes a different effect. And so Brittany's conversation with me was, do you think you can go from being fiance to not fiance in 3 months, just be not fiance? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah, you can for sure.
Absolutely. And so I actually have a rule of 3 that we've worked on. And this, I promise, will transition into our conversation today. But the rule of 3 has always been this. It takes 3 seconds to notice someone and be like, oh, God damn, that person's hot. All right.
Or, God damn, that person's annoying.
Right. And then it takes 3 minutes in talking to that human being to be like, I'm still attracted to them, or
Or I'm
ew,
not.
that is
Right.
not, you might look like Brad Pitt, but you don't talk like him, kind of thing. And then after that, when you decide to go on dates, it's the 3rd date. By the 3rd date, you're like, I am into this human being.
Or I'm not.
This human being is like, I'm in, I'm leaning in. By month 3, that's when like the whole like high of knowing this person starts to wear off and you start to see some like kinks in the armor. And if at that point in time, you're like, I am still 100% on board with this person, that relationship is going to last. It's going to last. And then the real checkpoint, not the Lazarus checkpoint, is year 3. By year 3, it's either going somewhere or it's not going somewhere. So that's how I've always worded that. And anyone who knows me I've been saying that for years. Rule of 3s. Which brings us to this. Why do you think we as a partnership have quarterly check-ins?
Yeah.
We have quarterly check-ins because after 3 months, if you don't check in, a lot can change.
Yeah, and things can compound, and things that happened months ago, because you haven't dealt with those and unpacked them with your partner, they just will snowball into the next quarter and the next quarter, the next quarter. And then soon enough, 3 years later, you're like, wow, how did we fall out of love? Like,
right.
So that's what we're going to talk
all
about.
out of love. I'm so lost without you.
Oh, whoa, that was like a little bit of James Blunt.
No. If I was doing James, I would have like,
Please don't.
I'm all out. No, I don't even know how I did that. Oh, I screwed that up big time.
Unless you're singing his song, you don't know his accent. Try again. Please
No.
try. Please try. I believe in you. I believe in you. Go.
No. I saw an angel. Of that I'm sure. She smiled on me on the subway.
Yeah, but you got to sing
She was
the
with
other
another
song.
man. I got to get into it.
Oh, okay. Mall of love.
But I won't lose no sleep on it because I've got a plan. What's the word? I'm all in love. I'm so lost without you.
Okay, you're so
Kept
good.
thinking about you.
That was so good.
Not bad, eh?
So good.
I had to get into him.
Got it. Okay,
I had
moving
to get
on, please. That was so good, though.
Thank you,
We
babe.
are going to do our...
A mini.
We're going to do a mini check-in
mini check-in.
live and in living color
Technicolor dream coat.
so that you guys can see how we unpack and unfold these questions. And again, this is a mini episode.
Mini. No, it's not a mini episode.
Sorry, a mini check-in.
Mini check-in.
When we are checking in like with each other and just like on the couch or having a drink, whatever.
We bring notes.
Yes, we bring notes, and it's usually like an hour, like it's long.
It's probably 3 hours.
Yeah, a minimum hour.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the subtitles in the show notes just so that when you, or if you want to do this with your partner, you have kind of like a baseline
A baseline.
to figure it out.
Oh my God, my throat's gone.
Are you okay?
No, apparently not.
Okay, so
we're
the
gonna
first
baseline. Like we don't talk about we won't
No.
be talking about our financial
No.
situation on
We're
this.
just doing
We
the
do
surface.
encourage you or invite you guys to bring that up because that is probably one of the biggest things people fight about.
For sure it
Can't
is.
talk.
Okay, so the first thing before you go into the check-in with your partner is you both need to be on the same page of coming in and not making each other wrong. This is so important. There are going to be frustrations that you're going to express because the whole point of the check-in is to kind of figure out what wasn't really working this quarter, but what was working, but you do not want to come in and you don't want to come in with an accusatory tone to your partner and be like, this is your, like, that will not get you anywhere.
The term that we use is this is a non-morality. There's no morality in this. There's
Right.
no wrong or right. There's just effective or ineffective.
Right. And it's okay to be emotional at some of the things. It's just, you do need to keep in mind that it's not a make wrong. It is confronting. So just, you both have to have that pre-conversation, I would say, so that both partners are aware that this is how it's going to run. So the first thing
to use Haley Patry's terminology from last week, this is, it's not really a critical conversation, but it's almost like a critical conversation. And what she says, in order to achieve a critical or to succeed in a critical conversation, you need mutual respect, mutual purpose, and everybody needs to feel safe in the conversation.
Right.
She put words into the things that we just naturally bring up because we never had words for them, but that's what it is.
It's beautiful.
Mutual respect, mutual purpose, and mutual safety.
So we always like to start with something good because it's a little bit like of a, let's break the ice. So we like to acknowledge each other, acknowledge your partner in something that they did or accomplished during this quarter. So I'm going to acknowledge you for something, and then you can do the same thing for me. So I was thinking about it, and I think that
You had to think about it.
No, because there were so many.
Oh, yeah. Fair. Oh, yeah.
So for me, I think what it is, without like going too much into it, because a lot of it is like on the DL, I would say that
What
you
is that?
had
Down low?
us in the industry say it's the down low.
Okay.
I would say that you really busted your ass to get a team together to pitch this gigantic meeting to a huge company brand that we are now building. And I know that this meeting was very important to you, and one thing led to another, and you really had to like bust ass for a week or so to kind of like late nights. I'm talking like Ryan would come to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning because he needed to make this presentation professional and blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing about you. You work really well under pressure, like really well. You do not do so great when you have all of the time in the world. Yeah. You are like, I have no other time to do this. I don't need sleep. What is that? And so you did this and you killed it. And now it's like that next step has unfolded. That is checked off of your list. And it's like, it's quote unquote real now. I think before this meeting, without giving too much away here, because it's obviously under embargo, you were still a little bit like not sure where this was going. You know what I mean? Like this really sealed the deal for you. So I'm just really proud of you that you figured that out. It was a lot of work. You're welcome. I
appreciate that. I accept the acknowledgement. That feels really nice to hear.
You're welcome.
Because I did bust my butt on that one,
Yeah.
and it's nice to know that it was noticed.
Mm-hmm. What about me?
Yeah, for me, I acknowledge you, Britt. This quarter, two things have happened. Number one, you killed it. Like you did just an unbelievable job in growing the brand and building the brand while maintaining a pretty solid foundation with our kids. Mm-hmm. It was remarkable to watch you do both of those things. And I know that a lot of that came with a lot of stress. And you have navigated that very successfully. Maybe not so in the last 3 days with your stress level. But it's phenomenal to see. I know what you're doing in the background, and I don't know necessarily if the kids do. And that to me is like uber impressive. But what has impressed me the most this last quarter is seeing how often you say no now. There's this like,
what do you mean?
There's like this ability that you have. It's like this empowerment, this self-empowerment that you say, no, that's not for me. And no, that doesn't work for my schedule. And no, I'm sorry, but I don't want to do those things. Where before, I wouldn't say that you were afraid to say no. I don't think you thought you had the power to say no. Mm-hmm. And watching you, and I'm not saying you say no every single day, but when you do say no, you say it from a very respectful but powerful position.
Interesting.
And the person who's receiving it's like, oh, okay, I get it. No problem.
Yeah.
Like you don't apologize. You're like, you're not like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I could. Maybe we can reschedule it. Like, you know, people always do that. Like, maybe we can reschedule it. And then you don't reschedule it because you actually really didn't want to do it. You're just like, no.
I think that I've learned that no is enough of an answer. Like that sits with me. Like sometimes I'd say no, but then there'd have to be an explanation why I would say no. And sometimes obviously
I'll give you a perfect example of this. The woman the other day, you asked for a sub. She thought you said you wanted 2 subs.
She was also so rude to me.
Well, regardless, you said, oh, I only said 1 sub. And she said, no, you said 2 subs. And you said, no, I said 1 sub. And that was it. And she looked at you to have this like rebuttal back and forth. And you just stood in your power.
Just stared at her.
You just stood in your power. And she's like, okay. And she pushed the other sub away. Because at the end of the day, it's like, why would I pay for 2 subs when I only wanted 1 sub?
Yeah.
Maybe there is a miscommunication between the two of us, but you just stood there in your power. And she recognized that you weren't moving from that position. And she only made 1 sub. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was like small, but it was like old Brittany would have just bought 2 subs.
I would not. I just would have
like, oh, you know, we could make this for the kids' lunches. And I would have like, why'd you buy 2 subs? And you're like, because she made them and I felt bad.
But what I didn't tell you is that as she was making this 1 sub, which I thought she was making only 1, I was like, I should order a rice bowl for later because I hadn't eaten and I was like not hungry at the moment. But then after we had this like awkward transaction, I'm like, well, I can't order a rice bowl now.
Just take the extra sub.
I didn't get to fucking order anything. I was upset.
Okay, so acknowledgement done. I
You know
love
what?
you. I
I'm
think you're
surprised that
fantastic.
you didn't say my public speaking thing because that was huge for me.
Babe, there's a lot of
I'm
things.
upset. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't accept what you were proud of me for.
I'm proud of you for a lot of things. You want me to go through the list? We've got a short podcast.
Oh my God,
here.
I'm joking. It's okay.
Well,
But
not
I
really.
really am surprised that you didn't say that because you were very like vocal about that. So that's very interesting.
I've already acknowledged you like through the roof for that.
All right.
Jesus.
Okay.
If only I had a third hand that I could clap for you.
Yeah, true. Or slap your own dick from between your thighs.
I could do that. Wow, are you clapping twice? No, that's my dick.
That's my Lazarus.
Oh, God.
Okay, so after the acknowledgement, you want to now move into something that you feel like wasn't working efficiently
Things.
this quarter.
Things.
Yeah. Some like maybe it's one main thing, maybe it's a few things, but things that you felt like weren't working efficiently in the home and effectively within your unit. So
And
whether
it's
that's
everything.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be multiple things, or maybe there is just one main thing that you want to work on, whatever it is.
It's everything. Whether that's one thing or 10 things, it's everything. Why? Because you do not want to carry it into the next quarter.
Correct. But this is where I feel like we are only going to choose one or two because this is where we have our subcategories where we're like, what's one thing that wasn't working financially? What's one thing that wasn't working within the home, within the marriage, within the part? Like, we're only going to do a couple because we're not going to go through each of those categories, but those are very important when you are doing like a full check-in.
Right.
Would you like
Think
to
of the
start?
categories that matter to you.
Yeah.
Financial, family, friends, health, all of that fun stuff.
Okay. Would you like to start?
So what I think we were very ineffective at this year or this quarter was our date nights.
So ineffective. Awful.
We prioritized work and our children over alone time.
Absolutely.
I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we completely disregarded that as a priority for us this quarter. I can count on one hand the amount of date nights that we had. And I would say, like, we were so in the beginning of COVID 2000, we were so committed once a week to making each other laugh for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That is something that we have just simply not continued this quarter. And there's a huge, no, we don't suck.
Okay.
And there's been an impact.
Absolutely.
And we shared that impact. Just so you know, guys, when things aren't going the way that you want them to, you don't have to wait a quarter to have this conversation. We actually had this conversation 2 weeks ago and I've started taking action to support this. But that was something that I think we truly dropped the ball in this quarter was date nights.
I have to agree. I do. And I feel like you're right. Like we did have this conversation and it was, I expressed to you, I did say like, right, I feel like when we do have date nights, like I am the one that plans these date nights. And I really would appreciate if you could take some leadership here to also plan these. Like I'll say to you, like, what's your schedule on Thursday night? Like, are you free? I'll I'll get the babysitter, let me know. And so I feel like because I have been so busy the past 2 quarters, I didn't really have time to do all of those. So they didn't happen. Like we had 2 lunch dates, which were lovely, but I was like, can you plan this?
Right.
So that is something that I think you just need to maybe put in your phone. You're a scheduled person. If you're like, plan it and it's scheduled in your phone, not to say like date night, but like plan a date night. I think that will be very helpful. But yes, I absolutely agree. That's something that we did not do well.
Yeah. By the way, we're not solving the problem while we're talking about
Correct.
this. We're expressing what we think didn't work. We're getting rid of it. And then when we start the new quarter, we create what we're looking to create. Just to be clear with you guys.
Yeah.
This is not a speak to what's not working and try
then
to
leave
fix
it.
it.
Yeah.
That's not it. It's just speak to what's not working.
Yeah. Okay. So mine, in terms of what wasn't really working for me, I think that it was more of like a personal, like the balance was shifted this quarter and I really struggled, like really, really struggled. I felt like this quarter I was working like a maniac. We were both working like absolute maniacs. That's guaranteed. We were passing this baton back and forth. Therefore, we didn't see each other for date night. But on top of that, I felt like I was working as much as I was, but then I was also taking on like the predominant, dare I say, default. I'm just kidding. I was taking on the go-to parent roles and there was just a ton of shit that was happening on my plate. On top of that,
What do you think's not working?
I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
I felt like within the home, I was getting overwhelmed with our day-to-day things, doing our laundry, packing up, or organizing our space so that it works with our family, effectively doing the garage, all of this shit. And if it was like, if I didn't say, or if I don't do those things, they simply just don't get done. And I was just I was very overwhelmed this quarter with all of the stuff that we needed to figure out and plan without having that extra help, because typically I'm not working as much as you and I can balance those better. But I took on so much this quarter and then also kept all of this over here. And it really, I think, like, it has snowballed for me. Like, I'm noticing, oh man, like, you know, this needs to get done. I didn't have help with this. And like, I'm feeling that, like, not resentment towards you, but I'm noticing that I'm annoyed. And that's not a good feeling. I don't like to be in that space. And so that's, for me, like, we need to work on maybe the balance of roles and household things, because I was really not doing well.
So just so you guys know, I'm really like triggered here.
Okay.
And the reason I'm triggered here is because typically when we go through this exercise, after acknowledgement, we list all of the accomplishments that we had. Mm-hmm. And by listing all of the accomplishments that we had, we would have done things like the garage got completed. We're really happy about the garage getting completed. So that when I'm hearing the information that you're gathering that says I'm the one that organized to get the garage done, knowing that I did a lot of the work for that garage, I wouldn't be triggered by this conversation. But because we didn't bring it up as a positive first, I never got to experience that she got that I did those things. I'm left with, she thinks I didn't do those things, and I did. So I'm triggered. I'm triggered right now. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I can appreciate what you're saying. You're absolutely right. You took on a lot more of the household stuff while your work schedule was through the roof. And I didn't pick up on that and step up to create what needed to be created. I was very reactive this quarter. Mm-hmm. It got done, but I was very reactive.
And
this
I think
quarter.
that's where we struggle too, because like, yeah, we got the garage done, but it was me every weekend being like, we need to do this fucking garage. Like,
right.
Which is frustrating, because I felt like, as two adults, I don't like feeling like I'm nagging you. I'm like, this is something that we both have to do. So that was frustrating for me.
I get it. Yep.
You're like, shut the fuck up.
Again, guys, this is why it takes 3 hours.
But
But
it definitely
you
will be
gotta
triggering.
get through it.
Okay.
Like, you got to get through it.
Okay. So moving on from that, let's move on to something that, like, let's go to next quarter. Are you, like, pretty much for the purpose of this podcast, good on those fronts? Like, you agree, I agree, everybody agrees that we're
There's
good.
a lot of stuff that we can
Yes,
go over
we can
that
unpack
wasn't
that
working.
alone.
But if we're going to do this when we get off this podcast, let's go back to what worked.
For sure. Okay, so now
Please.
let's move on to
Lose my mind.
future positive things. So we move on to what's going to happen in next quarter. So something that we are looking forward to in the next quarter. What is yours?
So just a little preemptive. If there is nothing that you and your spouse are looking forward to, skip this question and go to the next one, which is, what are you going to create?
Yeah.
Fortunately for us, because of the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, we've actually already started creating what it is that we're doing next quarter that we're looking forward to. I cannot wait to do Great Wolf Lodge with the kids.
That was going to be mine, damn it.
I cannot wait to do. We do a yearly trip with my in-laws, your parents, in Florida. I cannot wait for those 2 times, because one of the things that was not working in my schedule and one of the things that was not effective was the amount of quality time I had with the kids for me personally. So this checks off that list for me. We're doing the cruise, we're doing Great Wolf Lodge, and we're doing Florida, which sounds like a lot.
The cruise is this quarter,
It's
though,
this quarter,
so it doesn't count.
But I'm still looking forward to it right now.
That's fair.
It sounds like a lot, guys, but like, we have not prioritized that, and that was something that I discovered, and that was something that Britt discovered. So we've literally in the last 2 weeks put these things in.
Yeah, we were like, we we say this every year, but we're not going to do a lot of gifts and toys. Like we're doing experiences. Like our kids don't need toys. We notice that they just play with something and like throw it away. So we're looking forward to those experiences. I was the same. You know what? I'm also really looking forward to is taking like a small break from work. With my work, at least, it's really slow in Jan, Feb. So I look forward to kind of, again, spending more quality time with the kids and with you. Because I get that, right? Like you hustle really hard this season and then next I get to slow down a little bit. And I'm looking forward to that downtime.
So next category, what are you prioritizing next quarter?
Yeah. What are you prioritizing?
I think this is not going to shock anyone here.
Sex.
Physical intimacy is something that I would like to
No
prioritize.
shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
I would like to prioritize it. I would like to put it in. Like, listen, we've got experts every single month. We got experts on that says prioritize it, put it in the calendar, put it in the calendar, put it in the calendar. We are so guilty of saying, yeah, great idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do that. And not doing that. Mm-hmm. That is something that I will be prioritizing. Mm-hmm. And I will be saying, hey, Britt, this is what we've got scheduled.
Yeah. And I will be saying, hey, Ryan, did you plan a date? Because if we didn't, then we are not doing that.
But if you look at my list, so physical touch and date nights, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to prioritize intimacy with you, which includes date nights, includes physical touch, and includes sex.
See, I like the idea of having...
Sorry, parents.
I like the idea of having the intimacy as the umbrella and having underneath that intimacy be date nights, be conversations, be physical touch. Like those are all like encompassed in the umbrella of intimacy. So yeah, I agree. What am I going to be prioritizing?
I got one more for the priority list that I will listen to after yours.
Okay. I think I'm going to be prioritizing a little bit of... you know what it is? My friend Allison, who owns a spa, like a medical or medical clinic, whatever it is. You know what she told me?
No,
she was like, she's like, she also had a very busy quarter. Like she's working really hard. She's doing amazing. And she's like, I already know that I'm burnt out this quarter. So I already booked, multiple massages and like 2 overnight stays at like Allura Mill. She was like, I already booked them because I know that next year I won't do it. So she's like, I booked them. They're spread out within the next quarter where it's like either I'm going and I'm going there for the day or I'm going and I'm staying overnight, whatever it is. She already booked them in. So maybe like self-care, but mental care, because you do that for me. Like you say, hey, go here, book a massage, get this done, go do it.
I do.
And I don't do it unless you are like,
service.
Go do it. So I think that I would like to prioritize that for me, because having alone time, just not working, not being a mom, not being a lovely partner, is rare for me to book, like to schedule. So I think that's something that I would like to prioritize.
Good for you. You should.
And
you can do that stuff on a budget too.
And you're like, please don't go to the Allura Mill.
Yeah, I'm like, I love Allison's plans, but not that much.
You're like, have fun at the Hilton or what was that freaking the Joe
Howard Johnson.
The Howard Johnson discounts. And also date night. I really truly miss you. I think that we have so much fun on our date nights, and we get a lot of our content for the podcast from our date nights because we have really great conversations, and I'm looking forward to creating more funny content with you. This is something we really fucked and dropped the ball too. We were like, every Wednesday,
we fucked and dropped the ball.
10 to 12, we're going to do funny content. We literally grew our Instagram from all of our funny reels. I don't remember the last reel we posted.
Couldn't tell you.
And we love doing them.
It's my favorite thing to do all week.
We really we die laughing. We've just been so busy.
My favorite thing to do all week, and we never do it.
So I want to do that. It's not a fart. I promise. It's just the chair.
It sounded like one.
I'll recreate it.
Way to recreate that.
I swear.
You recreate it by shitting your pants.
That already happened.
One thing
Florida.
that I'm going to prioritize, we don't have to talk about it, is family dinners.
Oh, yeah. We were doing okay with that.
We were doing okay with that. We stopped doing it for about a month, and we did it. We sat down the other day, and Cooper immediately brought up the conversation we were having. He's like, Mom, what's your rose? And I looked at Brittany, and I'm like, why haven't we been doing this? Oh,
so we do the rosebud thorn thing. Something.
We don't have to get into it.
It was so good.
So the last question we're going to have, and again, this is just a highlight of what we do. It goes much deeper, but the last thing we're doing is, Brittany, what are you going to create this quarter?
What am I going to create?
Yeah, what are you creating? Out of nothingness, what will come of this quarter?
Oh, I don't know. That's such a broad question. I don't think I've really ever thought about what I'm going to create. I think maybe I'll keep it open. Like, I'm going to create space and prioritize time. This goes back on what I just said. I'm going to create space for you and I to be creative in like the funny space that we really enjoy. Like,
what you can very easily create is I'm going to create an hour a week.
Sure.
I'm going to create 2 hours a week or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a schedule that allows me to have these 2 hours with you.
Right.
You got to find a way to create it. You got to work.
I'm gonna create a space for that, and I'm gonna create a space for. I think I don't know. I was thinking about painting. I really miss painting, but I don't think I'm gonna do that this quarter. I don't have time.
Okay. For me, I got a bunch of things. I got a bunch of things. Well, just because the podcast has got to wrap up soon. For me, the one thing that I thought about that I have not created and not done is this year we have our traditions for Valentine's Day, but this year that was my stomach, not a fart.
Sure, recreate it.
I can't. My stomach growled.
Wow, that's so convenient.
I'm just continue not to eat. This year I want to do something special for the kids for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to create something. I'm going to create some little thing for you and the kids for Valentine's Day this year that I've never done.
I usually do that.
Yeah, I'm going to do it this year.
I'm excited.
That's what I'm going to create for. So, real quick highlight. If you guys are doing this exercise, we'll put this in the show notes. Start with acknowledgement. Go to what worked. List everything that worked that you're proud of. Start with that. For the love of God, start with everything that you guys accomplished this quarter. Because I promise you, you don't even realize how many things you've done in the last 3 months that you should be proud of. So acknowledge your partner for what they've done that you thought was amazing. Talk about all of the things that you guys have created. So you have a laundry list. You can say, wow, good for us. Then talk about the things that are ineffective.
Right.
So that there's no overlap.
Right. And there's nothing that hasn't been closed.
And make sure that when you're done, you feel heard, you feel acknowledged, and your partner feels heard and acknowledged, and you guys are done.
Yeah.
Complete the quarter and then start to create the new quarter.
Right.
And again, some of the things you can talk about are, what are you looking forward to? What are you looking to create? If there's nothing you're looking forward to, what are you prioritizing for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your health? All of those things. Yeah. Guys, this is a cool exercise to do. It really, truly takes time to get it done.
Yeah. So important.
Save 3 hours of a schedule for you to do this. And I mean this.
At least the first one. You'll get better at it as you go. But like,
because you
really
get over things.
Out.
You get over things quicker.
This isn't like an hour lunch in between your work day, because you're gonna feel very like unfinished, and it's gonna be harder. So do it at the end of the day when you know you have time.
And I heard something today that I loved. What? Someone said, treat your partner the way you treated them, and you'll never not have them. I worded that totally wrong. I heard something today. That wasn't it.
That makes no sense.
If you continue to treat your partner the way you treated them when you first met them, I don't know.
Oh my God, please.
It was brilliant.
That was lovely.
And I
Thanks
promise,
for tuning
maybe
in,
next
guys.
episode I'll know what it is and I'll write it down.
Love it.
Peace out. A-Town. Boop, boop, boop.
There goes a sight from my soul.